after we had our development partners retreat in February this year, there was the consensus to now focus on the priorities of the NS2, and that those priorities should inform a new cooperation architecture between government and cooperation partners. So we also stopped using the term development partners. We don't talk about cooperation partners because we are cooperating with Rwanda in its own development and essentially recognizing that it's an accompanying role that we play, that the ownership and the leadership rests with the government and the people of Rwanda. So that conversation had come to the conclusion that the sector working group should be fused into what will now become priority working groups. But we are in a transition moment. And that transition moment is that right now government is working on its new development cooperation policy instrument. So until it's fully endorsed and fully operationalized by government, the sector working groups must not allow a void to sustain. And so they keep working and keep bringing people together, while at the same time trying to adopt new approaches to how we focus on scale, focus on coherence, focus on impact. And so the presence of the multiplicity of stakeholders today already speaks to the logic of the priorities. It goes beyond one particular sector and is multi-sectoral. So my dear sister has already identified the purposes for today's conversation, so I will not speak to those. Neither will I also speak to why crime prevention matters, because I think my sister Fatmata has done that very well. And there are certainly some statistics that colleagues here have highlighted, and in terms of what has happened in our wonderful country between 2018 and 2023. And the key is that these are not just statistics. It's about lives disrupted, futures compromised, and communities destabilized. So as the UNDP rep said, it's a strategic necessity for all of us. It's beyond the moral imperative, it's also a strategic society, because crime is not just a security challenge, it's also a development challenge. Because if you don't address it, you continue to erode your development prospects. We only need to look not too far in our neighborhood and see countries that are affected by crime, high levels of criminality, cyber security, sexual and gender-based violence, to see how that is eroding their own development potentials. And sadly, what the data tells us is that when we talk about the demographics and about leveraging the demographic dividends, what the data says to us that our young people are the most victims, but it seems that the ones in the biggest bracket of offenders as well. So it raises that fundamental challenge about how do you create a sense of hope in the future, but a sense of hope anchored in the performance of the institutions, that the institutions do fair and justly to all citizens, and therefore for those that are wronged through criminal behavior, that they will find just recompense through the institutions of the state. But we do acknowledge all the significant efforts that have been made by Rwanda, the adoption of the criminal justice policy, the establishment of the Forensic Institute, the implementation of the community policing, rehabilitation, and reintegration programs, but also the enhanced collaboration between law enforcement agencies and local governments. So all of these clearly contribute to a sense of national security, but national development. And we do know the strategic linkage as well to all parts of the SDGs, not just SDG 16, but how it leads to employment, to social inclusion, to social cohesion, to family stability, addressing issues, health-related questions like substance abuse, but also providing all kinds of safeguards, social protection, and education. So what Rwanda is demonstrating is that communities are in the front line of an agenda on safety through the community policing committees and the youth volunteers. The Umugoroba Rango program, I think it's enabled communities to strengthen citizen engagement, citizen trust, but also civic responsibility as part of the entire architecture for inclusive development. So clearly, where do we hope to go from here? Following on this conversation, that this is not a peace and security question, it's a development question. So we have to ensure it's embedded in all our development initiatives. So between finding a balance on enforcement, rehabilitation, and reintegration, but strengthening the coordination across all sectors. For us as cooperation partners, aligning our support with national priorities, but ensuring sustainable, evidence-based financing for prevention initiatives, but also for private sector. This is not about corporate social responsibility. It's about corporate social investment. So because corporate social responsibility looks like charity, you're doing it because of the goodness of your heart. No. The new conversation should not be about CSR. Our new conversation should be about CSI. It's corporate social investment. Because when you invest in the society, you're building capacities for your customers. You're creating opportunities for stronger investment, stronger confidence in the economy for your stakeholders. And what does it do? It expands your bottom line. It expands the profit line. So there's a strategic relationship between all of us that work in development and private sector institutions, that you're not doing charity by investing. It leads to sustainability of the economy, but also sustainability of your own investments. Civil society and faith-based organizations, in this moment of contestation of ideas around society, around relationships, around how we engage. In this moment when many societies are preaching the sense of ordering, how you are different from us. And because you are different from us, we will come against you. We don't see you as part of our society. We will exclude you, we will deny you of access to services. That clearly our faith institutions have to be in the vanguard of saying, that's not who we are. That we are in the context of, it's about global solidarity, it's about human solidarity, that who we are is about inclusive societies. That Rwanda hosts 32,000 refugees, but Rwanda is allowing them to be included in the local communities, to benefit from schools, to benefit from health facilities, to benefit from economic opportunities like everyone else. That's about human solidarity. That's who we are. And so what you read in social media or what you see in other societies should never be the benchmark on the basis of which we measure ourselves. And our friends from the media, it's not just about reporting what has happened today, but being in the vanguard for raising awareness, for challenging impunity, but fostering informed public conversations on crime prevention and justice. So clearly for us as a United Nations system, I think my sister said it very eloquently, our role, our new vision, our strategic and collective offer for Rwanda is very different from the United Nations of old. Our new cooperation framework, it's not talking about funding. We're talking about financing. Financing Rwanda's development through Rwandan institutions, through Rwandan mechanisms, under the leadership of the government of Rwanda. So the conversation even between us and all partners, whether they are cooperation partners, philanthropists or private sector, is no longer about money that passes through the UN. You want to give us some money, we welcome it. But that must never be the basis for the conversation between the UN and our partners. The basis of the conversation is about the strategic opportunities for top quality, upstream transformations to happen in Rwanda. Because what it will take us to move from 1,200 GDP over the last 30 years to move to a middle income GDP of more than $4,000 requires much more than what we have done in the last 30 years. So it's a different degree of engagement. It's a different degree of ambition. It's a different degree of alignment. And what the government is demonstrating is that high degree of ambition. So we are challenging ourselves as a UN system to step up to the ambition of the government. And we are challenging all our partners, our cooperation partners, to also step up to the ambition of the government. And how has the government demonstrated its ambition? That's demonstrated through the flagship projects. That sectoral initiatives are fine, but they don't create cascade effect. But flagships go beyond sectors. So government has coalesced all the 17 thematic sectors in NST1 into 6 priorities of NST2. And we've proposed a 7th priority the government has accepted, which is sustainable financing, because we have to find the source of the money. So these 6 priorities have identified a number of flagship projects. These are flagship projects that have impact, that have scale, but they're integrated. So us as a UN is to come with the thinking, the ideas, the capabilities, the assets, human and otherwise, together with all the cooperation partners. We have to meet the government of Rwanda where it is and where it wants to go. And we know that development is not instant coffee. It won't happen overnight. Will there be forward movement? There will be backward movement. But like for those of you who imbibe whiskeys, that holy water called whiskey, for those of you who imbibe it, you remember that gentleman on a whiskey bottle that stays forward, yeah? The Johnny Walker bottle? What does he say? Keep walking. That's the Rwanda we know. Murakoze Chen.